Hello true believers. Today I would like to show you the many superpowers of the Sentry. At the first glance, the Sentry seems to be one of those characters who are known as flying bricks. Some of the most popular flying bricks are Gladiator and Sun God from Marvel Comics, Omni-Man and Supreme from Image Comics, the Homelander from the comic The Boys, and last but not least, you have probably guessed it already, the Saint from the comic The Pro. The standard power set of the flying brick includes the ability to fly, super strength, and super speed, invulnerability, and laser eyes. When it comes to the Sentry however, these few powers are only a fraction of the things he can do. The Sentry, at his core, is a reality warper. To narrow it down even further, the Sentry warps reality by manipulating molecules. That has been explained by Brian Michael Bendis, a writer who had creative control over the Sentry for a very long time.
We've now unveiled all of our cards about who the Sentry is and what his powers are. We unveiled in Dark Avengers number 12 that the Sentry, on top of his powers, has powers like the Molecule Man. He actually has the ability to craft, to form a reality from a molecular level, and that's where his powers have come from. That's the story we're discovering, and that there's no limit to the power level that he has and how out of control mentally he is.
Before we get into Sentry's more exotic abilities, we should start with some of the more basic ones. Super strength. Sentry is one of the strongest characters in the entire Marvel universe. Sentry had offered the Avengers to sink an entire island. He has easily lifted heavy objects, including the dead body of a Celestial who was bigger than planet Earth. Sentry has physically overpowered the Void, the same being who broke all of Hulk's bones and ripped gods apart. Sentry's super strength directly translates into punching power. He has created gigantic craters and even destroyed the moon with a single punch. Sentry even broke the Void's jaw and punched holes through his body. During Uncanny Avengers, a celestial artifact called Death Seed had fully unlocked Sentry's full potential. At that point, Death Seed Sentry had mirrored the combined strength of over 100 heroes, including heavy hitters like Wonder Man, Namor, Hyperion, and the Hulk. Super speed. Sentry is also one of the fastest characters in the entire Marvel universe. He has stated that he operates in milliseconds, which is 1,000th of a second. Thanks to such speed, Sentry can catch bullets point blank. He can travel miles before people can finish a thought and rip people's heads off before they even see him coming. Sentry preferably uses his incredible speed to fly all over the planet and save people from various dangers. Speed-wise, that is an easy task for Sentry, since he is much faster than the speed of light. He has been able to fly from Earth to the sun and even farther beyond within minutes, if not seconds. At one point Sentry was flying so fast that the velocity of the speed alone overwhelmed Thor. And keep in mind that Thor has already traveled millions of times faster than the speed of light. Invulnerability. Sentry is durable to a point where it's almost impossible to harm him. Acid strong enough to melt through steel had no effects on the Sentry. He has tanked nuclear bombs point blank. He has been repeatedly punched in the face by World War Hulk and smilingly asked for more. Sentry even stood strong in fights where planets were being destroyed as a side effect of the fight. Enhanced senses. Sentry has of course enhanced senses. His vision and hearing, for example, are enhanced to a point where he can see the tiniest matter and radiation particles and differentiate them. He can hear people calling him from across the planet and even hear a butterfly sneeze in Central Africa while he himself is in New York. Transmutation. Thanks to his ability to manipulate molecules, Sentry is capable of transmuting objects. Sentry has turned regular clothes into the Sentry suit. He has turned a rock into a protective orb. Sentry has created creatures like Gigantics and Golems to attack Wasp. He has also created a werewolf to showcase that he is finally in control of his powers. I personally would have created a bunch of naked supermodels, but maybe that's just me. Anyway, Sentry had discovered the truth about his powers during his fight against the Molecule Man. The Molecule Man had apparently killed the Sentry, but the Sentry came back and defeated the Molecule Man at his own game. It is worth being mentioned that just like with the sand golems and the werewolf, the void is something the Sentry creates. However, in the void's case, it happens subconsciously. But, more on that in a future video. Shape-shifting. Sentry can use his transmutation power to transform himself. That goes from turning from a middle-aged, out-of-shape guy into a muscular, handsome, actually very handsome, motherfucker, or into a disgusting, deadly crab monster. So basically like the significant other, before and after the wedding. Telekinesis. Sentry has used telekinesis to throw rocks and cars at Thor, and even stop Thor's hammer and drop it to the ground. Telepathy. On top of his amazing physical attributes, Sentry also has telepathic abilities. He can use his telepathy in a couple of different ways. He is of course capable of telepathically communicating with others. He can erase memories, implant his own memories into the minds of others, and force people and even animals to ignore things. He can launch telepathic assaults against others and render them defenseless. These telepathic assaults are partially based on empathy. With his ability to use the emotions of his opponents against them, Sentry can easily affect characters such as Thor, Hulk and Vision, who have a high resistance against standard telepathy. Sentry himself has an insanely high resistance against telepathy. Even skilled telepaths like Emma Frost and Professor X were not able to stop him. Energy manipulation. Sentry can emit powerful energy attacks from his entire body. With his energy emission, Sentry is capable of destroying entire worlds while still holding back. Sentry can also draw and absorb energy from anywhere and everywhere. He was able to contain an escaping cosmic cube for a brief period of time. Sentry can even deflect energy attacks and send them back to his attackers. Force fields. Sentry is capable of creating force fields, which are powerful enough to even deflect attacks from a Herald of Galactus. Invisibility. The Sentry has mastered the ability of standing so incredibly still that he becomes invisible. Oh, wait. No. That's another character. The Sentry turns invisible by deflecting light and radiant emissions. Teleportation. Sentry has teleported a couple of times, mostly during stressful situations. Healing factor. If you thought that Deadpool had a great healing factor, then you haven't seen the Sentry. Even if someone manages to get past Sentry's nigh invulnerability, Sentry is able to recover from lethal damage within seconds. He has been able to regenerate his completely destroyed head and brain. He has regenerated from being ripped apart, from being burnt down to a skeleton, and even from being reduced to a single atom. Immortality. So, here you are. You have managed to get past Sentry's nigh invulnerability and his insane healing factor. You have effectively killed the Sentry. Unfortunately for you, Sentry is able to resurrect himself from the dead. He had been reduced to nothingness in his fights against Morgana Le Fay and the Molecule Man, but he always came back. The Sentry is absolutely immortal. He himself was looking for ways to kill himself without any success. Healing touch. As if Sentry being able to regenerate from virtually any wound was not enough, he has also the ability to heal others. Sentry was able to heal a young girl who was in a vegetative state due to complicated issues with her spine. The Void didn't like that and gave a young mother untreatable breast cancer. Those poor boobies. Resurrection. In one story, the deadly robot Ultron beat Sentry's ex-wife to death. Sentry was able to resurrect her and heal all of her wounds simply by touching her. Power sharing. Sentry has used his ability to share his powers with others to empower his dog Normie and a young man named Billy Turner. These two became Sentry's sidekicks, Watchdog and Scout. So, as you can see, Sentry has used his base ability to rewrite reality to great effect in form of other, singular powers. Now, you might be asking yourself how Sentry got his powers in the first place. Well, it all started off with the same super soldier serum that turned Steve Rogers into Captain America. That variant of the serum was meant to push the body and mind of a human to their peak. Sentry's serum variant however underwent further experimentations. Its strength and potency were increased by 100,000 times. In effect, the serum had created a phase-shifting effect in the molecules of Sentry's body, causing each atom to step an instant ahead of the current timeline. Meaning that Sentry is out of sync with regular reality and in a hyper state of consciousness. I have no fucking idea what any of that means. In either case, the Sentry is an immortal and powerful reality warper whose potential and power are only limited by his own unstable mind. I hope that you now have a better understanding of Sentry's power. Until next time, and as always, stay vigilant.